Hello, Mr. Minnick. Helping my students in this Java class understand how to work with the PixLab case study that comes from College Board. Here I have our current IDE that we use at YMissing named JGrasp. I have it open there, and I'm going to go to the menu command Project Open. It's the best way to open up a project that you've already saved. Now I have this workspace folder called Workspace Java. Your folder might be named differently. And within that folder I see all the projects I've ever worked with, at least saved to this workspace folder. PixLab is in here somewhere. There it is. I'm going to double click it. And this is the file that I would double click or open that is unique to JGrasp. A .gpj file, and when I open that, I now have an open project down here in the lower left window of JGrasp. And I can now examine the files there and even double click individual source files such as ColorChooser. And ColorChooser is a good one to start with in this complicated project that has, as you see, about a dozen source files. So let's take a closer look then at this particular file. Well, as in Java, the rule is any file must have the name of the class, the public class that's in it. So the name of the class is ColorChooser, and you can see that the file is named colorchooser.java. Scrolling up and down in this file that was provided to us from College Board, and specifically Professor Erickson from Georgia Tech. She made this. She put the main method down here at the bottom of this class, and there's a method. Oops, I edited this yesterday, so let me fix it back to the way it was originally when she provided this to anybody that wanted to download it. Okay, 1 second here. I believe this is the version that you would likely have. And anyway, there are only 2 lines of code as you see in the main method, so let's step through this and understand why it works the way it does. First, I will execute it, compile, and execute it to see what it does, and then we'll explain it here. Okay, when it executes, it pops up a frame, a J-frame of some kind, and in other words, a window. And yesterday I had edited it to say, hey dude, pick a color. She did not put that text property in for this frame originally herself. I think she just had pick a color. Anyway, this interface was partly provided by Java itself and Oracle's API, but she also added some twists here and there, some uniqueness to this very professional looking application. Okay, I'm going to click cancel because I don't want to go any further in runtime. Okay, examining this file. A bunch of stuff is imported from the Java API. Note that JColorChooser is a class that we're importing. The capital J, you'll see that a lot in built-in classes that come from Java itself. And then when she named her class that she created, she named it ColorChooser without the J, of course. So it's sort of like a wrapper class, W-R-A-P-P-E-R. It makes use of JColorChooser, but it adds extra functionality. Well, the functionality that this class adds is a method that she created called pick a color. So there is no pick a color method, probably, in the JColorChooser class. She added that here as a static method in this class. And notice there are no other methods in this class except for the main method, which is what launches when we execute this project, this file. Note that the PixLab project as a whole has lots of executable classes. In other words, lots of classes that have main methods. So we're only choosing to work with ColorChooser right now. When this launches, executes, she created a variable called pickColor. Its type is a color object. And whatever this returns, whatever the pick a color returns, whatever's returned here by this local variable, that gets stored in the object variable named picked color, and that's what system out prints down here. So I'm going to run the program again, and this time I'm going to pick an actual color and click the OK button that we likely will see here. So I'm going to pick some shade of blue, and when I click OK, some name or some RGB value for that swatch of blue will be stored in the variable picked color, and it's a toString return value will be printed out here, and you just saw it was printed out. So this is the toString return value from the built-in I think the the color class. The actual color class from Java causes this to print out. And I could have typed in .toString. I don't know if you studied that in the given year that you're watching this video, folks. But if I were to run this program again, that .toString empty parentheses is optional when you're in a system out print ln argument setting. So this time I'm running the program. This time I'm going to come over here to RGB and just make a unique color of some kind and click OK. And there we again have it working with .toString optionally typed. I'm not going to type that anymore. Now notice she just used a variable called picked color. She didn't have to. For example, Mr. Link, she could have just taken this right here on the right-hand side, the same Mr. Redinger and Mr. Tranquillo, this right here, this value, the same Mr. Foster, this right here. So as I was saying, this what's called the right-hand side, when you're on the right of an equal symbol, it's called the right-hand side, RHS. That's not on the AP exam, by the way. But that, of course, could be substituted for this made-up variable named pick color, and we really don't need that line of code. She could have done it as one line of code. Not that that's better style or anything. She could have named that variable X, in which case she would have an X there. All kinds of variations. That would be poor style also. A single letter variable name. Okay, I've traced the 2 lines of code there in this main method, which of course refers to this method right here. Let's take a close look at this method in the way that she wrote it. So she declares a local variable named color. She sets it equal to 0, not. She sets it equal to the color white that's built into Java, just because she didn't know what else to put in there. She could have set it equal to null, but she didn't. It's an object variable. It's not an int. It's not a double, so you would not set it equal to 0 or 0.0 if you wanted to initialize it with good style. And then she brings up a JFrame object. She instantiates, so that's part of the Java API that's not covered on the AP exam, but would be very interesting to do in any side projects that you're doing for like real, legitimate, graphical user interface GUI applications. And whatever this does, I guess it just pops up as the current active window. She named it frame because she didn't know what else to name it. And I put in this hey dude yesterday. I'm going to take that out. She put in as her text property at the top of that frame this. And show dialog, that's just something you could look up in the ColorChooser class that she imported from the Swing library of Java. None of that's on the AP exam, but it's very useful in the real world if you want a good paying job. And then she returns all that. Yes, all of this probably could have been done in 1 or 2 lines of code. But look, she added some nice little comments, broke it up into small pieces. Okay, that's my quick overview of ColorChooser. Let me know if you have any questions.